Hey guys, Anthony, 4B4 Diesel. Just a quick bit of feedback for you. There's been a few of these lately, and when I say few, a very few, I want to be clear, this is a really small problem, okay? Very, very small, like, very, very small. Can I be any clearer? It's a very, 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 very rare problem, okay? It's a big problem when it happens, kind of, but it is very rare. So in my opinion, it's probably not worth changing as prevention unless you're prepared to spend many thousands of dollars on the vehicle, because there's other things I would change in prevention before I change this, okay? I'll give you an example. In our 120 Prado, which I drove again today, it's done nearly 400,000 Ks. This has never been out or changed, okay? I'm considering changing it, okay? I'm considering it, mainly for R&D, to see what it looks like, how clean it is, what sort of wear, what the condition of things are like. I'm also considering it's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work and money for most people. Now, I'll give you my thoughts and opinions from the limited experiences we have so far. If you've got an issue where the fuel's not transferring and basically, the car runs out of fuel, it's not starting, or nothing stops these cars. This is something that stops them until you put more fuel in. So it's technically not stopped or a breakdown, you just got to put more fuel in. What happens, there's fuel in the rear tank and it's not coming through to the front tank. When you go to fill it up, you're going to have trouble filling up. It is all a related issue. And even if 3, 5 or 10 people comment, I'm telling you, it's a very rare, very small issue, right? But when it happens, the problem is the main tank, the forward tank, needs to come out. It needs to be drained, it needs to come out. As a minimum, things need to be cleaned up. It's probably a bit of debris, possibly from a fuel filter change, from someone who hasn't done a clean job, maybe some manufacturing bits of plastic and whatever, little things like that, because there is a filter there to filter what comes from that rear tank. Let me get it right. Anyway, whatever, let's not get too technical, because I'll have to think about that and it'll waste another amount of minutes and I'll probably get it wrong. But the point is, the little Venturi here is what can get blocked. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can attack it. You can pull this out, clean it all up, and it might fix it. Sometimes the pump can fail. I can't say that we've seen that. That's even more rare, if you like, than this Venturi blocking up. There can be some other issues, but we haven't seen what those other issues are, and we haven't got any information for at this stage to explain what they are. But in my opinion, if you've got a 120 Prado, they're quite old. Let's say the 150s have been out since around 2009. So we're talking about 11 years now. It's 2020 now. It's COVID-19, right? 11 years the 150s have been out. So in my opinion, if you've got a 120 Prado and this very rare problem happens to you, how rare was it? Very, 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 very rare. If you're going in there doing all this work, draining the fuel, taking the tanks out, it's a lot of work involved, you'd be silly not to replace this whole assembly. That's what I recommend. Not the pump, not the sender unit, not the Venturi, not cleaning, not anything. Just change the whole thing, because it's lasted you over 10 years. There's wear and tear on the sender unit here. This constantly going up and down, right? So we don't see problems with these. In the petrols, we see problems with these, because petrol acts differently on things. The diesel is almost a lubricant, but you still get wear and tear, and taking it out and having it wet and dry and messing around with it and the wires, it could cause a problem. This is what I mean. So there's the poor man pays twice cheap way of fixing it, and it may work, but I would recommend, and they're quite expensive. This unit, hope everyone's sitting down. If you've got a 120 Prado, this unit, I believe, from Toyota locally in Australia is around about $1,300 worth. Yep, there's cheaper ways to buy things and stuff like that. But look, at the end of the day, I think we can do one of these for around about $800 or $900, the whole assembly for a 120. So it's still not cheap, but remember, it's a very rare problem. And on the odd outside chance that it happens to you, you're going to be spending quite a lot of money getting the tanks out, draining the fuel, doing the work, the diagnosis. You can probably save a bit of time on cleaning and diagnosis by just going, you know what? Like Anthony said, just change the unit. If this happened to my vehicle, if it was hard to fill at all whatsoever, or if there's any sniff of any situation whatsoever, it will be getting the whole unit, and I'm actually considering doing it, as I said, mainly for R&D, but as prevention, because we do a lot of remote trips and that sort of thing. So if you're one of those people that does a lot of remote trips and you've got money, maybe it's something worth considering. I don't do this sort of replacement. I'm busy. I don't do the remove fuel tanks type thing. One of our 4B4 Diesel workshop partners does. They're in Sunshine. We can recommend and send you to them. And of course, we're going to gather and provide the information for you guys from these jobs. So if you've got this problem, please make contact. Let's bring more through so that we can do what we call, it's kind of R&D. We'll almost call that one R&D. We'll call it R&D, T, PQ, whatever you like, right? Bit of research and investigations into what the cause of these problems are. And we need more, because I've been in this game working on Protos for years, and there's only and a lot of people contact me about all their problems, and I've got to tell you, lucky if there's 2 a year. And generally it'll be the one guy that's on the Gibb River Road that's broken down, and he's on a sat phone, or and maybe one other, you know, something, maybe 2 a year. It's a very small problem. So if we can get the local guys in Victoria, if you do have this issue and you need a rectification, please make contact. Send me that text message with your name, where you're from, what vehicle you've got, and hey, I saw your video, I think I want to replace this as prevention, or I want to you know, get it checked and cleaned out, or I've got the problem. And yeah, so my recommendation is the 150, the unit for the 150s is a lot cheaper. But again, because it's a small problem, you're more likely your alternator is going to fail. I've said this before. Part of the standard service on the 150, because it changed from the 120, even though we don't see issues, because there was a few issues, I believe, Toyota schedule changed to changing the pump only. The pump's a lot cheaper than the whole unit. But as I said, if the pump's not usually the issue when there's a problem, okay? So the problem you've got is, though, when people work on things and they go, oh, there's a problem, and they do diagnostics, they pull things apart, they change the pump, and they clean everything up. Well, they might have fixed the problem without even knowing they fixed the problem. This is what happens. This is the problem, okay? So I know there's people around. I know there's someone around Deer Park, or works in Deer Park. I'm not sure if he watches the videos, and I know he had this problem with his 150. Now, with the 150 Prato, this unit, it's only about $600 or something around there. Don't ask me why, that's Toyota. You need to ask them about the prices, but certainly if it happens to you on a 150, 100% at that price you're going to replace this unit. In my opinion, if it happens to you, the best way to do it is to replace the whole unit. I've been clear, haven't I? I've said it enough times. If you're doing the work, that's the way to do it. Luckily, we've been able to get the price of the 120 units down to under the $1,000 mark, which is pretty good. Like I said, it depends on the time, prices change, availability. It's going to be about the $800 to $900 for the part in the 120, $500 to $600 in the 150, and then of course you've got your labour. It's going to be quite a few $100s. I'm not going to lock it into any price, because it all depends what's found, and then you come up with little extras like, don't forget this filter, because if that's blocked, that's going to cause you the same problem. This needs to be changed as per the schedule every 20,000 Ks, okay? That's the transfer filter that's above the tail shaft that filters the fuel coming in before it gets to this Venturi, so that it doesn't get blocked up. But if you get a filter that's got some crap in there from manufacturing, it could be the cause of what blocks that up, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. This is a bit of a complex system, but it does work really well. It is very reliable. It's just about trying to give you the idea of the right solutions if you do have to fix it. Now, we've already talked about the fuel filler hoses on the 120s. They do go they do go hard. This one's quite hard. And what happens with the petrol ones, they go even harder and they crack. And you know, petrol's quite dangerous compared to diesel, and you don't want that. So everybody with a 120 petrol should definitely have replaced this, and we've provided the part number and that recommendation for many years in previous posts and videos, so check those out. If you've got a diesel, what happens, because it goes hard, it just doesn't seal as well as a new nice soft rubber one. So slowly you get a bit of a weep, and perhaps you can see here, see the color difference? Excuse me, maybe that was what happened there. Maybe that was a bit of fuel that leaked. I wasn't there for the hose change, so I'm not sure. But either way, everybody with a 120 should change that for reliability, for safety. The 150s, don't worry about it at this stage. We'll let you know as it happens. Maybe they're newer, maybe it's different rubber. It is a slightly different pipe. They've changed a bit. So don't use the part number we've provided for the 120 to buy one for your 150, because you'll have the wrong one, okay? So, and that's the reason why you subscribe. So if you haven't, do that now to make sure you don't miss out on all these updates. This video will only get released after we've confirmed, after the vehicle we've confirmed, we haven't at this stage, but when the video is released, we'll confirm once again that it was a solution, okay? And if at any time anything changes where we've got a problem and this has been done and it didn't work and it's not a solution and there's another problem, we're going to tell you about that, okay? So hope that's helped. Change your fuel filter every 20,000 Ks. You don't have to use genuine, they're quite expensive. That's in other videos. Check out the video, I think it's called search on my channel Ryco something, or Ryco, I can't remember, something about Ryco, you'll find it. If you subscribe, you would have seen it. This, don't replace it as prevention, I don't think, unless you're loaded and you want the ultimate reliability and you want to spend every cent. If you want to do that, give me a call, we'll hook you up, we'll do some of the work, we'll hook you up with someone, and we'll place everything on your vehicle. Every 100,000 we'll put in a new engine, a new transmission, a new diff, a new turbo, I can go on. You get my drift, there's got to be an end to it. And in my opinion, it ends before you don't replace this as prevention. But 100% you should replace the whole unit if you've got a 120 and you've had the problem, okay? If you've had the problem. Now, we'll start doing some R&D. If anybody's got a 3 or 4, 500,000K 120 and you want to replace this, let us know. And from doing a whole heap of those, we'll be able to gather more information and come back to you with another video and help you out and provide you some more free info. Hopefully that's helped, guys. If you got something like that, please give us a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said already, I'm sure you've got the subscription and the bell on. And if you haven't, now might be the time to do it. Thanks for watching. We're out of here. Bada boom, bada bing.